Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who joined us today for the launch of the Alma International School, Alma School for Humanity. I'm Chagit Rabbi, and my spirit is deeply moved by this moment and this event. My spirit and not my emotions. When we feel excited, the ego is at the center. The ego needs confirmation and recognition, needs applause, needs to be loved. On the other hand, when the spirit is deeply moved, true love is what stands in the center. The love for the God we serve, and the love for our neighbor, to whom we want to give from the abundance that has been given to us. When the ego is at the center, there is a pressure to succeed. But when the spirit is in the center, its desire is only to fulfill the will of the light. Therefore, I'm not stressed that my English is not perfect. It is not my mother tongue, but the language of the bridge to the word. And you should also not worry if your English is not perfect. The important thing is not the words, but the power that passes through them. A power that passes through us from the light in the moments we serve as a channel for it. Therefore, I would like to open this event with a verse from Psalms that has become a prayer for me before lectures. A prayer in which I ask that the words that come out of my mouth will reflect the will of the light to bring about the glory of God on earth. Lord, open my lips, and my mouth will declare your praise. Every person with a little sensitivity feels that the world and humanity are in a very difficult period, a critical period. Many believe that we are in the middle of an economic, medical, or political struggle, and that only a rebellion and a war against the rulers of the matrix may give us back our freedom. But in fact, we are in the middle of a battle which we will be able to win only with the power of the Spirit. The vision of the Alma Inspira School in Israel and the Alma School for Humanity in the world is to create this spiritual movement that will lead to the fulfillment and also to the victory of the plan of the light for those people who choose it of their own free will. When I say spiritual movement, many may misunderstand it. That is, many may think about a bunch of hippies sitting around the bonfire, smoking a joint or drinking beer, playing the guitar and singing songs about peace and free love. But this is not what I'm talking about. Spiritual movement means the ability of the human spirit to swing harmoniously as a bridge between higher and lower worlds, a bridge between heaven and earth. The hexagram, which is a geometric shape of a six-pointed star in which two triangles with equal sides are placed one top on each other, can be a symbol for the movement to which the human spirit is called, to bring the light down from above to the earth, and to build from the earth upward. As soon as more and more spirits experience and live this movement, they will be able to magnetize to each other according to the law of attraction between similar species, first of all through their thoughts, and then finally also through actual physical meetings, in order to advance these similar goals. According to the laws of physics, this movement can be compared to a centrifugal force, in the center of which there is a small but very concentrated and powerful movement which can produce ripples which gradually spread into wider circles. According to the Bible story, this movement can be compared to the joint work of limited number of righteousness people, on whom existence the entire world depends. 10 righteous people would have been enough to save Sodom and Gomorrah. In the current state of humanity, we need a little more. The book of Revelation gives us the exact number we need to reach in order to create the turning point for the long-awaited change among those in humanity who can still be saved. The number is 144,000. The world and humanity are in a very difficult time, a critical period. But the change we wish for will not come from a war against the dark agenda of the current evil empire, the New World Order. This change will not come out of anger and protest against all the injustices that occur every day, with the aim of turning the world into a digital world, and though we are still left here after the planned depopulation, into cyborg slaves. The change will not come as a result of fighting only for the improvement of our earthly living conditions. And this change will not come if we continue to think that my power and the strength of my hands have produced this wealth for me. We have no chance of winning the battle of the days of the final judgment with this limited logic of the intellect, which can perceive reality only in its material and earthly aspect. If we insist on continuing to stick to this logic, the reality will only get worse, and more people will lose hope, and maybe even lose their minds. However, when the need is greatest, God's help is closer to us than ever before. This help is close to us when we humbly bow our heads, recognizing that we cannot free ourselves out of this modern Egypt by relying on our own power. But remember the Lord, your God, for it is He who gives you the power to produce wealth. The help is close to us if first of all we listen to the calls of the prophets and the messengers throughout all the times. Stop looking outward. Purify yourselves and align yourself with the laws of creation. Is the situation difficult? Very difficult? Intolerable? We must stop looking outside. We need to purify ourselves and align ourselves with the laws of creation. Every individual person, every nation, and all of humanity have a chance for redemption only through inner purification and alignment according to the laws of creation. The problem is that most people cannot grasp this logic at all. The term spiritual work sounds to them like a slogan tossed around by people who are really disconnected from reality and just close their eyes and meditate. They will be happy to like a post written against someone else, the governments, big pharma, the system, but will resent and maybe block anyone who calls on them to self-reflect and change. Most people cannot grasp this logic at all, because since Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge, our ability to perceive has been reduced only to what the intellect can grasp. We have lost the ability to zoom out on reality, an ability that only the spirit has, but never the intellect, which is bound to time and space. For this reason, the light has always sent its messengers to warn and explain this logic, first of all, to those closest to the light, the called and the chosen. They are the ones who need to form the center of the centrifugal force, which with its powerful movement will be able to influence wider circles. There is no other way and no shortcuts. If the called and chosen one fail, the world will fall. Long ago, prophets and messengers were sent to the chosen nations. Today, there is no longer a chosen nation among mankind, but only developed human spirits, which are scattered all over the world. These spirits were prepared for this hour of humanity thousands of years ago, and therefore they are the ones who will recognize the call first. For this reason, Alma School for Humanity first target audience is this group of people. However, belonging to this group does not mean feeling arrogant and condescending toward other people. On the contrary, belonging to this group require, first of all, careful and meticulous examination of each person with himself, immaculated inner purification, and alignment. Only then can the next step come, serving God through serving to humanity. Now we get to the second target group of the school. People whose spirit are not yet in a deadly coma. People who are fed up with the matrix illusions and its lies. People who are searching for the truth and for meaningful life. People who have not yet extinguished the burning embers of the longing for the truth, and therefore it will be possible to rekindle it. The first group immediately hears and recognizes the truth and the call, and then begins to produce a small but very concentrated and powerful movement. The other will be slowly influenced by this ripple effect as long as they search for the truth with all their might. The name Alma came to be when the school initially opened in 2007 in Buenos Aires. In Spanish, Alma means soul. In Hebrew, Alma means a young woman. And in Aramaic, Alma means world. The combination of these meanings is actually the essence of the school. Purification of the soul so that the spirit can arise and ascend. Purification of femininity so that masculinity can ascend alongside femininity. And all this so that the word can ascend. The name Inspira means inspiration in Spanish. And the tagline of the school in Israel is knowledge, inspiration, transformation. The knowledge of the school comes from the last revelation of the light to humanity. Inspiration is the school's creative program that are a bridge to this knowledge, which is needed because of the fall of humanity, which can no longer understand this knowledge without mediation. And transformation is what every student required to do for himself, by himself. For the international school, the name School for Humanity was chosen because we, as humanity, need to be educated, to go back to school, to be like children who learn from the beginning how we should live and prosper in the creation of our God. The school is inaugurated today in the English language, which is the language of the bridge, and in the coming month it will also be available in the following languages: German, Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, French, and Serbian. I recommend that you visit our website regularly as more content will be added, as well as an invitation for our next Zoom meeting. The program of the school is made up of steps which, on the one hand, addresses the purification of the old and wrong, and on the other hand, deal with the creation of a new human being. The creation of a new human being does not happen in one day. This is because for thousands of years we have developed along the wrong path. But only if we really become new human beings, we will be able to build a new world according to the laws of creation and the will of the light. And everything has to be done anew in our world, because everything is wrong. Our world is like an ugly building that is about to fall. One group of the residents of this building has been fast asleep and paid no attention to the ugliness or the impending disaster. A second group woke up and is busy being angry and protesting against the architect who designs the ugly and unsafe building. The third group, also awake, is trying to make renovation and repairs to the building so that it does not collapse, and also to try to make it more beautiful. The fourth group has realized that there is no escape from the collapse of the old and ugly building, and that a new and beautiful structure had to be built in its place. The members of this group also believe that they already know how they should build the new structure and are in a hurry to promote various building plans. The fifth group has realized that in order to build a new, beautiful, and strong structure, first of all, a comprehensive building inspection should be performed, so that they can figure out what is the root cause of the building's impending collapse, which should not amount only to blaming the architect. Only then they will be able to prepare a plan to build a magnificent house according to the guidelines of the greatest architect. We must understand the reason for the collapse, and we must learn how to rebuild everything according to the plan of the light. Those who begin to devote themselves to the great work of purification within themselves and to the rebuilding of themselves as new human beings already began to live in another dimension. In their physical body, they still live in our dense world along with other people whose consciousness level or frequency is low. But since their spirit ascend to a lighter place, they actually experience a feeling of lightness, calmness, and happiness, that the truth is finally coming out, and their spirit are set free. They will not be willing to give up this ascension for anything and for any price. They will not be ready to return to the time before the pandemic when they were asleep and unaware, even if life was deceptively more comfortable then. Imagine two men standing in the line at the checkout counter of a supermarket. One has a loving and supporting wife, and the other has an argumentative and difficult wife. Both are in the same physical place, but their thoughts, their inner words, are completely different. Their experience of standing in line, as well as of life itself, is completely different. Therefore, those who begin to dedicate themselves to the great work of inner purification and to rebuilding themselves as new human beings, and do not emotionally identify with what is happening in the earthly dimension, are already living in the most challenging, powerful, and beautiful period of their life. They also understand that all the suffering that it is the reality in the world, in the earthly dimension, is nothing but the harvest of what humanity has sown for thousands of years. And this suffering may also push more people to wake up and not miss the opportunity to ascend during this time of the closure of all cycles. By the very act of aligning with the laws of creation, a person who dedicates himself to the great work of inner purification also receives protection, and nothing can harm him, except of karma from previous life, which can also be atoned symbolically. According to the law of attraction between similar species, he will be attracted to people of the same frequency and will begin to create for himself and his friends a paradise on earth. We already know that the current battle in our world is a spiritual battle that cannot be won without the help of the light. Inner purification and alignment are required of us, but we are also required to do another thing that is not less important: to trust God. The biblical story of David and Goliath can give us an inspiration on how to defeat the Goliath of today. Goliath was a giant and skilled warrior adorned with scaly armor and other sophisticated weapons. All the people of Israel trembled and feared him and had done nothing, even when he stood and cursed Israel and their God for 40 days. the small and young David volunteered for a task that seemed impossible, since he had nothing but a slingshot and 5 small stones from the stream. It seems that there was no chance in this battle, that the people of Israel were going to be enslaved to the Philistines. But David's spirits possessed the most powerful weapon, the fervor of trust in God. David said to the Philistine, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defeated. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I'll strike you down and cut off your head. This very day I'll give the carcasses of the Philistine army to the birds and the wild animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands." Finally, I would like to thank all those who have made it possible for us to make it to this time. To the great messengers whose words I'm only bridge. To my husband, without his guidance, I would not have been able to currently bridge the words of the great messengers to our current time. To all the helpers and guides who have guided me on the path to fulfillment, I am nothing without this help, and I could give nothing without it. The 2 Alma schools also could not have brought their blessed message to the world had it not been for so many dedicated and talented people who have joined this great task. From my bottom of my heart, I want to thank you all. May our school be able to inspire the world, and may we understand that everyone is responsible for learning to play the instrument that each has been given here on earth. But only together we can create an orchestra which will play a heavenly harmonious sound throughout the entire creation. The Alma School for Humanity reads the word from Israel, the land of the prophets and Jesus Christ, and thus historically and symbolically redeems and fulfills the prophecy. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Amen. Before we part, I would like to share with you the story of the Alma Inspira School in Israel in pictures, right from the beginning. Thank you all for joining us. See you next time.